I know I've been talking about food a lot lately when it comes to preparedness, and rightly so. I've talked about meds. Now we're going to talk about everything else. And there was a list that was put together by Daisy Luther over at the Organic Prepper. Great site, by the way. I'm pretty jealous. I publish a lot of her stuff over at jdrucker.com, and this particular one is definitely worth taking a look at. 50 non-food stockpile necessities, in other words, things that you need that don't just always have to be food and water and ammo and meds and stuff like that. Let's see what she says. I'll let you read the article itself, but let's just go straight to the list. Let's just bust it right out. Number one, soap. Yeah, of course. You definitely need soap. And I am a big fan. I know a lot of people will disagree. I am a big fan of bar soap. It's it's more useful. It can be stored for a bit longer than certain other soaps. Not as long as, for example, powdered soap. Powdered soap you can keep for a very long time, but I like bar soap. I go with the assumption that you know what you're gonna need to be able to keep things together for a decade or less. So bar soap should last long enough. Keep it in obviously a cool, dry, dark place. Store which is how you store pretty much everything, and you should be just fine. Laundry products, and there are ways, and it's great. I'm glad that she put it in here. There are ways to clean laundry without the standard laundry detergent. As a matter of fact, I would argue that considering the state of today's modern laundry detergent, I'd almost rather use the soap, the aforementioned soap, instead of some of those others. Shampoo and conditioner, that's a no-brainer. But again, I'll never forget the first time I used soap in my hair. It wasn't actually me; it was my grandma. I was like 6 years old, and for some reason, yeah, she was visiting and giving me a bath, and she used regular soap, and I'm like, what the heck? And it felt so weird. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I've ever done it again. But I guess in a pinch, you could always go back to soap, regular soap. But if not, having a storage of shampoo and conditioner is good. Disposable razors makes sense. Band-aids, lots and lots of band-aids. And I would argue that it's not just band-aids, it's bandages of all types. First aid supplies, this is number 6. You could really put those two together. Yeah. Number 7, Calamine lotion. I've never had it. I've never used it. I'm not an itchy guy, I guess. Maybe I'm blessed with never having to use calamine lotion, but it's on the list. Dish soap, multi-purpose, lots of uses for that. It seems if you see a trend here, at least initially, a lot of these are about cleanliness, hygiene, and that's something that we have to take into consideration big time in a post-apocalyptic scenario, which leads to number 9, feminine hygiene items. Once again, cleanliness, 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 hygiene. It's not just about you need to smell good for the apocalypse. It's a health issue. Bad hygiene can cause serious health issues. Not to mention, there's always the whole, the if you're downwind or I guess upwind from dogs or vandals or marauders or whatever, you don't want to stink. Number 10, toilet paper, and then number 11, paper towels. We saw during the COVID-19 pandemic, we saw both toilet paper and paper towels run out. As a result, after it became more readily available, we started stockpiling. I put it on auto ship from Amazon, and would always accumulate more than what we would use. We have since turned that off a bit because I think I might have overdone it. I've got in the garage, we got the overhead bin. One of them, or one of the overhead shelves, has like, I don't know, probably 100 rolls of toilet paper and probably 40 or 50 paper towel rolls. Might be overdoing it, and only because, not that we wouldn't eventually we'll use it. That was my thinking. The challenge there is the space. It does take up quite a bit of space. Number 12, baby wipes. Even if you don't have a baby, a huge fan of that one. Okay, my wife, she's still to this day. We haven't had an infant for years, but we've been using baby wipes for 3 decades, and we're going to keep using them, not just for the babies. Very useful there. Shower gel, I'll disagree. As long as you got soap, you're fine. But whatever. Number 14, cosmetics, if you use them. Again, I don't see a purpose for that, but so be it. I'm not a woman. Number 15, coconut oil. Many, many, many uses to coconut oil. As a matter of fact, let me write that one down. I am going to do an episode on alternative uses for certain things. And coconut oil is one that has many, many uses. Peroxide, huge fan of peroxide, very useful for multiple reasons and relatively inexpensive. Rubbing alcohol, once again, extraordinarily useful, multiple purposes to get tons of that. Hand sanitizer, again, I'll disagree. Uh, soap. Soap. I'm not a fan of hand sanitizer. Not today, not ever. Never have been. Maybe some people are. Actually, I know a lot of people are. My wife is. So maybe there's something there. Maybe I'm wrong about that one. Who knows? Number 19, bleach. And to be fair, is to be able to use it to sterilize water, you need it to be unscented, just straight up bleach. You don't want scented bleach. You don't want any additional chemicals. Bleach can be used for so many things. So many things. Number 20, white vinegar. Lots of that. Plenty of that. And again, multiple uses there. Man, I really need to do a show on alternative uses for these things. Number 21, cleaning supplies generically, I guess. If you're wanting to make a list of 50, it helps to throw in the occasional generic one, right? Number 22, garbage bags. So many uses for garbage bags. And get the good stuff, okay? There's certain things where you don't have to splurge. With garbage bags, splurge. Get the thick stuff, quadruple ply or whatever. Make sure that you've got large bags. You can get some of the small bags for certain uses. They are definitely useful. You don't want just a bunch of heavy duty bags for piles of leaves, but have a lot of those and a lot of the other ones. But again, don't get the cheap bags. Not with the garbage bags. You don't. They use they're worthless once they start tearing, and they will start tearing if you get the cheap ones. 23, kitty litter for emergency sanitation. There's a lot of uses for kitty litter. It's not just for kitties. You don't just have to have a cat to have a need for kitty litter. Great for obvious for repairs, absorption. There's a lot of things that you can use kitty litter for. Pet food, obviously, if you have pets. Flea and tick medication for pets. That's one I never thought of, but that's very true. You don't want to. You don't want, with no access in an apocalyptic situation to vets, you don't want to have fleas or ticks. They can do more than just make the dog or cat itch. Nail clippers and files, big fan of that one. Make sure that you got several because they're not expensive. And again, just like with the trash bags, with certain items, including nail clippers and files, don't get the cheap stuff. They will break. They will rust. Get the higher quality versions of them. Number 27, lotion and moisturizer. Not much to say there. 28, sunscreen. Maybe. I'm a little skeptical. I don't use this stuff myself, but I guess for some people it would make sense. Number 29, extra filters and parts for your water filtration device. If you're using a Berkey or an Aqua Pure or any of those, you get the gravity filters. They usually have a spot for either 2 or 4 filters, right? And we're talking about the big gravity filters. Each one can be used for anywhere from 4,000 to 5,000 gallons, right? So if you use all 4, you should be able to get approximately 20,000 gallons. That sounds like, oh my gosh, that's more than I'll ever need. You'll be shocked how much water you actually need to purify and use on a regular basis. You'd be shocked about how much water you're using today, especially if you live in America or other Western nations. We use water far more than we realize, and we need water far more than we will normally acknowledge. So yes, then they're expensive, I admit, but I think that they're definitely worth it. Number 30, spare parts for important equipment like canners or tools. Yeah, absolutely. And that's something that's not just post-apocalyptic. That's anytime. You should always have spare parts and have them organized and in a place where they're not going to rust. They're not going to corrode or anything like that. You want to make sure that your spare parts are there when you need them. Number 31, matches, always useful. And then number 32, lighters, always useful. Now, I'm a big fan. There are these lighters. We've got some, and I don't know how effective they'll be in the long term because I haven't been able to test them long term. but they're electric lighters. They don't require other fuels. They heat electrically, and they are USB driven. So if you have small solar panel or even a large solar panel, you've got your USB, your standard phone chargers, for example. Technically speaking, at least according to what this particular brand that I use, I don't remember the name of it. What they say is that it should last pretty much indefinitely as long as you got power supply going to it. You're recharging it regularly. You should be able to use it for a very, very long time, which is something that you can't say normally about anything other than like a Zippo, and you still need additional parts even for a Zippo. And I am a fan of Zippos. You can get Bics, you can get the whatever other types of lighters there are too. I just get lots of them. Get lots of options. Lots of options, lots of fuel. Being able to make fire is a very, very good thing. Number 33, long burning candles. Can't ever have too many of those, and they're easy to store. Number 34, batteries. Same thing. Load up. I'm a big fan of making sure to have rechargeable batteries as well. Okay? Not just, you don't want to have all disposable batteries. Having some that you can recharge over time and keep them for a very long time, not indefinitely. They do lose charge eventually, but yeah, having a lot of those is good. Stationery, number 35, stationery, school and office supplies. No brainer. I like it. Yeah, I have lots of that. And it's not just for entertainment purposes or I will write my journal of the apocalypse. That's not trying to downplay that because I'm sure that if I get into that situation, I'll be writing my journal of the apocalypse myself. But it's also good, obviously, for leaving notes for people if you're having to go out and about, and writing down instructions, drawing maps. There's tons of uses. Trust me. If you don't have stationery and pen and pencils and ink and all that good stuff, you will definitely regret it. Number 36, lip balm. Cannot be downplayed or cannot be overstated enough. You have to have lip balm. Just watch the Book of Eli with Denzel Washington. Lip balm. You don't want to be using cat oil on your lips. Number 37, toothbrushes and toothpaste. No brainer there. Back to hygiene. By the way, taking care of your teeth in the apocalypse, super, super important. Yeah. Sewing and mending supplies is number 38. Number 39, hair elastics. Okay, sure. Again, I'm not a woman. This is written by a woman. So it's been a long time, decades since I've had long hair. So yeah, I guess now that I think about it, it does make sense, right? I mean, what are you going to use, a rubber band if you don't have the stuff? So yeah, okay, I'm down with that one. I like that. Number 40, over-the-counter remedies for common ailments like heartburn, nausea, congestion, coughing, and pain relief. Yeah. And the good part is that they're easy to store. They do last for a very long time. They might lose some of their effectiveness, but it's not like your antacid turns to poison after a year or two, right? It will definitely be different after 3 or 4 or 5 years, but as long as you're storing it properly, again, cool, dark, dry place, then you should be in good shape for a long time. Number 41, insect repellent. Makes sense. Number 42, deodorant. Again, this comes down to it's a hygiene issue. It's not just about smelling good. It's a health issue. So, and it's something that I would say that on this list so far, I was even thinking about this the other day because I have, it's embarrassing to say, but I've got boxes and boxes and boxes of deodorant. Like, I don't know, like 8 boxes of deodorant, which each box has at least a dozen, maybe 20. I don't know. So I've got a lot of deodorant. I've got years worth of deodorant. So I'm good to go there. Duct tape, 1 trillion uses for duct tape. That's number 43. Number 44, paper plates and disposable cutlery. Makes sense, Now, with that said, I prefer metal. I do. I like something that where you just have one, and you can have more than one, but you have like in your go bag, you have a plate / bowl, one of those shallow, and make sure that it's metal. A fork, a spoon, a knife. Okay, and a cup, a tin. All of them tin, all of them metal. Nothing that will rust. Something that is durable, and or you can go the opposite approach, is to have paper plates and disposable. The one thing to keep in mind is that it's not like there's going to be garbage collection, and you don't want necessarily to have fresh garbage anywhere in your home or your bunker or whatever, or even outside of your home or bunker or whatever, because it's a telltale sign that you are there. So I'm a big fan of having as few necessary disposables as possible. Now, granted, with paper plates and cutlery, you could just burn it. But then again, now you're getting into alerting the marauders of your location through the smoke, yada, yada, yada. Number 45, tin foil. My gosh, with all the conspiracy theories, you want to be able to wrap your head in tin foil. I'm just kidding. The reality is tin foil has, once again, a trillion uses. 46 Ziploc bags in a variety of sizes. Yes, yes, and yes, yes, yes. And you know the beautiful thing about Ziploc bags is that, yes, you can store them in the little paper cardboard containers, but you can also, quote unquote, store them by using them, right? You just put in whatever it is that you're storing and get it zipped up. Now you got a bag on top of what's inside the bag. You just got to clean it out when you're done with using whatever is inside the bag. So Ziploc bags, very nicely reusable. Just make sure to keep them clean. Number 47, cotton balls, cotton swabs. Yeah, good stuff there. And more than just for hygiene, the cotton balls can be extraordinarily useful in particular, and cotton swabs from a health purpose for treating certain types of ailments. Very effective. Number 48, hardware like nails and screws for emergency repair. Yes, and just a toolbox in general. Okay, lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of tools. Okay, lots. And keep them clean, keep them rust free, keep them stored properly, keep them well maintained. Number 49, vitamins. Sure. Yeah, I mean, I guess. And then number 50 is, of course, ammo. Duh. Lots and lots of ammo. Good list over there at the Organic Prepper. Daisy Luther over there does a fantastic job. Make sure to check out her site, support her stuff. Most of the links that she puts in there do give her credit. She doesn't. They're always struggling over there, just as we're always struggling over here. That's why it's always good to help out the people that are giving you information, giving you knowledge, giving you how-tos on how to survive if the crap ever does hit the fan.
You got the moves. I'll give you that.